A key part in presenting cakes for service is their decoration and finishing. To decorate a sponge with Italian buttercream, you will need the following equipment: a serrated edge knife, a cake board, a palette knife, a crank handle palette knife, a few piping bags, and you'll need plain nozzles and star nozzles. For the cake I'm preparing today, I have a Genoise sponge, some jam, and some Italian buttercream. The first step is to mark the cake with a vertical line. That way we can reassemble the discs when we finish and assemble the cake. The second step is to split the sponge into 3 equal sized discs. The third step is to fill the sponge. We do this by taking the base layer of sponge, putting it on the finishing board, placing a layer of raspberry jam evenly across the base of the disc, then piping in buttercream, starting in a spiral motion from the centre and working our way out to the ends of the disc to provide structural integrity for the cake so it doesn't fall apart when we put the next layer on. We repeat the process until we finish with the top layer. The last step is to mask the cake with buttercream. We do this so that we have a nice even finish on the cake. We can then use that as a basis to start our decoration and garnishing. To begin the process of masking, we place buttercream on the tops and sides of the cake, and we use a palette knife to shape it, to make it smooth, so we have a nice clean surface to work with when we start decorating. After we've masked our cake, we need to leave it under refrigeration for at least an hour. That way the buttercream will be set, and when we decorate and garnish the cake, it won't smudge, it won't move. Next up, I'm going to take you through some basic piping techniques using plain nozzles and star nozzles. But to begin with, we need to fill our piping bag with the icing. To fill your piping bag, you need to make sure you don't fill it any more than 2/3 full, and you pack the icing in as tight as you can to make sure there are no air bubbles. We then twist and tie off the end of the bag. When we squeeze the bag to get the icing out, we need to use a steady, even pressure. We don't press from the top, we press from the base just above the nozzle. It's almost like milking a cow. The first technique is called the shell. Now, squeezing lightly to begin with a forward motion, we then pull backwards and press a little bit harder on the bag, on the back drawer, to make a shell shape. And we keep doing that repeatedly to form a border. The second piping technique is the rope. Using a plain or a round nozzle, we pipe on top of the cake, and with a slight spiral motion to the wrist and a steady even pressure as we pipe the icing out, it looks like we're forming the braids of rope. The last piping technique to demonstrate is the rosette. The rosette is commonly used to finish a cake, generally on top. To form a rosette, use a star nozzle, you pipe with a steady even pressure, and you twist with your wrist and give a quick short flick at the end.